Weather officials warned this week that an extremely dangerous hurricane could be headed straight for the country. Moody's warns that the country's deficit could reach an all-time high, and an infant was fatally shot this week. We've got these stories and others. I'm your host, Krishna Virgil, and this is the Tribune's Top 5. Weather officials warned Bahamians this week not to wait for the last minute, as Hurricane Irma could be headed straight for the country.
Hurricane Irma rapidly developed into a Category 3 hurricane and is forecast to become an extremely dangerous Category 4 storm by next week as it moves closer to the Bahamas. U.S. AccuWeather forecaster Dan Kotlowski, in an interview with the Tribune, said Irma has the potential to become the strongest hurricane of the season. He said, quote, "Right now, Irma is 1,900 miles east of the southern Leeward Islands and is a strong Category 2, which is expected to develop into a Category 3 by this afternoon or tonight. Irma also has the potential to develop into a Category 4 storm by Thursday. It is too early to see the impact it will have on the Bahamas at this point, but we will know once it moves into the Lesser Antilles. At this point, you do not have to worry through the weekend. If it does impact the Bahamas, it will be sometime next week. We will watch and see how it is moving, but no doubts this will be a very powerful hurricane and the strongest of the season," end quote. Just as he predicted, late Thursday afternoon, Irma was categorized as Category 3. Local forecaster Jeffrey Green told the Tribune Thursday it is still too early to predict Irma's direct path, but said current models have the storm coming near the country. Mr. Green said by next week, the Department of Meteorology will be able to say whether or not the Bahamas will be in Irma's path. Police are on the hunt for 3 men who tied up, assaulted, and robbed 2 security guards at a local high school and a neighboring business early Monday morning before making off with a safe with plenty money and 2 stolen vehicles. The drama unfolded shortly after 5 a.m. off of Shirley Street. In the first incident, police said the 3 men armed with handguns approached a security guard at Temple Christian School and robbed him of his black Nissan Note before assaulting him and taking his personal items. About 15 minutes later, a security guard was at Thompson Trading Co. Limited when 3 men in a black Nissan Note tied him up and robbed him of a cell phone, cash, and his green 2009 Pontiac. The suspects also broke into the business and removed a safe before fleeing the area in both stolen vehicles. Officers responded to the robberies, spotted the vehicles, and the chase followed, ending off on Homestead Street. The suspects abandoned the 2 vehicles and fled on foot. A safe was removed from one of the vehicles. Assistant Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernandez said police suspect the men are responsible for several armed robberies dating back to February, where security guards were tied up and businesses were robbed.
The country's deficit could soon reach to a whopping $636 million, said Moody's, because of the former administration's pre-election spending.
The rating agency, in an August 25th credit opinion that accompanied its decision not to downgrade the Bahamas to junk status, suggested that the red ink could amount to $136 million more than the government's own $500 million estimate, a difference equivalent to 1.5 percentage points of gross domestic product. Moody's estimate is almost double the former Christie administration's own $350 million forecast, with the rating agency disclosing that the 2016-2017 deficit had been inflated by an accounting method switch. The Deputy Prime Minister defended this move, telling Tribune Business the best policy is to be upfront and honest. KP Turnquest said Moody's decision to leave the Bahamas with an investment-grade rating was vindication of the administration's sudden switch to accrual-based accounting for the 2016-2017 fiscal year. The switch away from the government's traditional cash-based accounting system resulted in the former Christie administration's pre-election spending commitments, for which funds have yet to be dispersed, being included in the 2016-2017 fiscal year calculations. A day after Education Minister Jeff Lloyd said something is wrong with the country's educational system, officials withheld an official subject letter grade breakdown for the Bahamas General Certificate of Secondary Education examination results, which also show that of 6,692 students who sat the national test this year, only 521 or 7.8% scored a C or above in mathematics, English, and science. This is about a 9% decrease compared to the last year. This lack of detailed BGCSE statistics raises questions over how students fared in individual test subjects and highlights challenges this country faces regarding the readiness of youth to adjust to life after high school, where they are expected to transition into work and college. However, sources within the Ministry of Education told the Tribune this year's test scores did not depart greatly from the dismal grade trends seen in both 2015 and 2016. On Wednesday, Mr. Lloyd told educators during an event in Grand Bahama that they cannot continue to sit on their laurels while the national exam results remain at a D average. He went on to stress that the only way the issue could be corrected was to go back to the beginning and start with preschoolers.
The nation was left reeling this week after an 8-month-old baby was shot and killed in a home he shared with both his parents.
The 8-month-old baby was killed after he was shot in his home early Monday morning in what police believe was an act of retaliation toward the toddler's father. The boy's mother and father were also shot during the incident. They are both listed in serious condition in hospital. Shortly after the tragic killing, police said they wanted to speak with 19-year-old Anthon Davis, aka Bigger, with help for the investigation. Davis later turned himself into the Central Detective Unit with his lawyer at around 4:05 p.m. in connection with the investigation, police said. The shooting took place shortly after 3 a.m. on Monday and took the country's murder count to 90 for the year, according to the Tribune's records. It was also the second murder in less than 48 hours in the capital. Police identified the baby as Shelton Delano Tinker Jr. 19-year-old Davis appeared teary-eyed after he was arraigned in the magistrate's court Tuesday in connection with the killing of the baby boy and the hospitalization of both his parents. Mr. Davis of Fleming Street stood before Magistrate Janine Weish Gomez and faced 1 count of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder in connection with Monday's incident.
Want to get in on the discussion? Well, here's how you can. Just log on to our website at www.tribune242.com. Like us on Facebook, the Tribune News Network. Send us a tweet at Tribune242 or subscribe to our YouTube page, Tribune242.